In today's news, persons detained in early morning police operation in West End Tortola. And we also see government receiving a smaller of the two refrigerators to store Pfizer vaccines in the BVI and vaccines to arrive next Monday. And legal bill submitted by the firm representing the COI Attorneys termed unreasonable and disproportionate. Judge revised total cost to be paid by Willock to just over $104,000. An attorney and former Education Minister Myron Walwyn calls for a Human Rights Commission in the BVI. While we get to these and more stories when Twit for News return.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and, bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. This season, I'm taking you on an entirely different journey, from chefs to dancers, philanthropists, communications specialists, and much more. I'm heading outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Bojangara, Jackson Lake, not forgetting Anigata. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing, and I'm so proud. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redirect. We are the movers and shakers of this generation, and we ain't afraid to show it. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 3 by yours truly, Ron Grant, raising a generation of greatness.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes, coming to you live from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Well, a happy Tuesday to one and all, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, viewers, we start today's newscast with a police operation which seemingly was being conducted this morning in the West End community. Well, heavy police presence was on the scene at the apartment complex in West End Tortola, where a number of persons were seen detained in police custody in a police operation. Well, this is according to a visual observation by one of our reporters who were on the scene, who witnessed the heavy presence of police officers who were fully armored and heavily armed. Well, while no details on the specifics of the operation was revealed to our media house up until the broadcasting of this newscast, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force did issue a statement in an invited comment. What they said, and I quote, "But we cannot comment on an ongoing operation. Once completed, we would release the outcome if need be," end quote. Our viewers, Twit for News will keep the public updated on this developing story as more details are unveiled. Our viewers, we move to our next story, where the British Virgin Islands government has received one of two specially designed refrigerators, which is presently being dispatched to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital to store the Pfizer vaccine, which will be procured through the United Kingdom government. Well, this was confirmed by the Minister for Health, Carvin Malone, during an interview with Twit for News on Tuesday, December 7th. Malone said that the smaller of the two refrigerators was received in the territory on Monday, adding that the much larger refrigerator will be in the territory within the next month.
I'm pleased to report that the refrigeration to house the Pfizer vaccines, one of the two refrigerators have been received as notified by Tropical, and it has been cleared for dispatch to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, where on arrival, the vaccines will be stored. As you would recall, the British government has pledged to supply all of the vaccines required by the Virgin Islands, be it AstraZeneca or the Pfizer vaccines. Now that the refrigeration is in place, and it is a small of 2 units that has been received, which can house up to, well, probably about 6,000 doses. The larger refrigerator will be coming and will be due for arrival at the end of December or early January 2022. But we are adamant to continue our administration of vaccines, and now we have a choice.
Well, Minister Malone also revealed that the Pfizer vaccines to be stored in the refrigerators will be arriving in the territory by next Monday, once there are no delays with the shipment.
We would be receiving the first shipment of the Pfizer vaccine come Monday, the 13th, save for any delays that might occur. Shortly thereafter, the public will be notified as to the venues where the Pfizer will be administered. We want to encourage everyone to participate, to do what is required in order to rid of this particular disease. We cannot get rid of it, but we can protect our bodies. We can protect ourselves from hospitalization and death, although these from time to time will occur even in the vaccinated. But it is the best known protection against hospitalization and imminent death.
Well, viewers, that was the Minister for Health and Social Development, Honorable Carvin Malone. Now, for those persons who may question as what does this mean for the BVI? Well, the Pfizer vaccine now once made available in the BVI would basically be available for those persons ages 18 and under, especially for, we would have had the USVI BVI initiative where a person would have been going to St. John's basically to have the opportunity to get the vaccine dosage, but now being made in the territory, made available in territory as of December next week. Once the shipment does arrive next Monday, according to the plans, according to the minister, in the conversation I would have had with him today, he said that there will be a rollout in terms of how these vaccines, these dosages, which are supposed to be 4,000 plus dosages basically to be administered. These dosages basically would be administered through a specific plan that will be rolled out to the public in short order. But in my conversations with the minister, what he did reveal though is that there will be priority made for children, which will be those persons ages 18 and under, and also the elderly who would have first priority options to be able to have these access to the Pfizer vaccine, and also to the booster for those persons who would have already been deemed fully vaccinated. They do have the option to become, to basically receive a third shot and basically receive the booster there, obviously with the insight of new variants, as much protection as possible. And that's the message being pushed by the government in terms of this particular initiative. So for those persons who are interested in finding out, when will these vaccines be made available, just stay tuned to 284 Media. We will keep you updated when that particular schedule roll out, and we will be following up with the minister to bring more details on how the public, can access these vaccines. Well, viewers, up next, legal bill submitted by the firm representing COI Attorneys termed unreasonable and disproportionate. A judge revised total cost to be paid by Willock to just over $104,000. And attorney and former education minister Myron Walwyn calls for Human Rights Commission in the BVI. Well, viewers, we get to these stories after a word from our sponsors.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
The wait is over! CCT Fire is here! Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. network. CCT Fire, bring it home and upgrade today.
Well, viewers, welcome back. Well, unreasonable cost and practicing without a BVI bar certificate were among some of the factors which resulted in Supreme High Court Judge Justice Adrian Jack reducing the total legal fees ordered to be paid by Speaker of the House Julian Willock by some $16,707.99. Where the total fees ordered to be paid declined from the previously submitted $121,432.50 to $104,724.51. Well, the judgment came following a closed court cost assessment after the Speaker's attorney from Silk Legal, Daniel Davies, challenged the original cost submitted by the attorneys representing the Commissioner of Inquiry, Sir Gary Hickenbottom, and his 3 attorneys. But the legal fees submitted by the Attorney General totaled $6,084, while the bill for the Commissioner, Sir Gary Hickenbottom, along with his attorneys Bill Arurak, Ray Harrick Soon, and Andrew King, totaled $115,348.50. Well, after assessing the information presented, Justice Jack concluded that the more than $115,000 bill submitted by the COI's represented law firm Walkers had a number of discrepancies which he had to address. Well, these discrepancies resulted in his final decision to revise the total to be paid to law firm Walkers to $98,676.51. Well, Justice Jack said, and I quote, "I have considered whether the total allowed below of $98,676.51 is a reasonable overall figure. In my judgment, it is. This was litigation which was very significant to the first to the fourth defendants. Had the claimant obtained an injunction preventing the second, third, and fourth defendants acting in the Commission of Inquiry, that would have seriously impacted on the Commission's ability to conclude its work. But Mr. Willock must have been aware of this potential impact, or the legal resources employed, including the instruction of leading counsel, were reasonable." End quote. While Justice Jack, in his 39-page judgment, listed some of the discrepancies discovered in the schedule of costs submitted by law firm Walkers. Well, this included billing hours submitted by Queen's Counsel Andrew Sutcliffe, which requested for money dating back prior to August 30th, 2021. However, it was discovered that Sutcliffe was only issued a practicing certificate on August 30th, which resulted in Justice Jack dismissing all hours requested prior to that date. Well, he said, and I quote, "This has the effect of making costs incurred in respect of any work done by or with him up until that date irrecoverable. It is also forbidden by statute for any counsel to practice BVI law without a practicing certificate, Section 15 of the Legal Profession Act 2015. Well, the court is also invited to find that it is impermissible to allow a counsel who is not in possession of a practicing certificate to engage in a practice of law at any stage of a case and to disallow any cost claimed in that manner. I agree that fees incurred by Mr. Sutcliffe QC prior to 30th August 2021 are irrecoverable for these reasons." End quote. Well, Justice Jack also termed the bill submitted by Walkers as, and I quote, "wholly unreasonable and disproportionate," end quote. Well, he compared components of the bill submitted by the Attorney General to the bill submitted by Walkers. Well, he said, and I quote, "Well, the Attorney General's chambers presented a bill which showed a total amount of $6,084 for 18.2 hours. Against this, the Walkers bill is essentially claiming for 147 hours plus an incalculable amount of time for Andrew Sutcliffe QC. The court should treat this with great suspicion. In fact, the bill produced by the lawyers working directly for Walkers far exceeds that of Andrew Sutcliffe QC's. It is clear from this fact alone that their bill is completely unreasonable." While he continued, "It is also quite interesting to note that the lawyers from Walkers appear to spend excessive time on reviewing draft judgments issued by the court. This is particularly concerning because even though Andrew Sutcliffe's QC's bill is unclear, it appears that he doesn't spend half as much of the time that the lawyers from Walkers do on certain items, charging a mere Great British Pound 150 Great British Pound dollars plus VAT for reviewing a draft judgment that Walkers $4,340, which were for items 57, 58, and 60, end quote. Well, now that the final cost to be paid by Speaker Willock has been finalized, it will now be up to special committee, which was approved by the House of Assembly, to decide on whether the Speaker will have to foot the bill as a private citizen or whether taxpayers will be paying his legal bill. Well, viewers, we will keep you, the public, updated as developments continue on whether that bill will be paid by Speaker in his private capacity or whether it will be paid from his capacity as Speaker of the House, which obviously means that taxpayers will have footed the bill. Well, viewers, moving on, where in a recent Facebook post, local attorney and former Education Minister Myron Walwyn shared his thoughts on the need for a Human Rights Commission to be established in the British Virgin Islands. Well, his stance comes on the heels of employees now at liberty to lose their jobs as a result of implemented vaccination policies by some employers in the BVI. Well, Walwyn said that the Human Rights Commission is not new to the territory. However, it has failed on at least 3 occasions over the last 30 years to even make it to the committee stage of the House of Assembly. Well, viewers, take a listen.
I have long held the view that there are many other things that are important to creating a good quality of life for citizens other than money. Building the necessary institutions in a country that can provide redress for citizens who believe that their rights have been abrogated is extremely important. At present, some citizens are facing a very difficult time with the issue of mandatory vaccinations and their job security. Where do these citizens go for redress? The issue may be mandatory vaccinations today, but some other issue tomorrow. And I'm asking persons to completely put aside their views on vaccinations because my point goes beyond that. I am vaccinated and I would encourage anyone to do the same. The Human Rights Commission bill was brought to the House of Assembly by the Attorney General about 3 times over the last decade, and it failed to even make the committee stage of the House.
Well, Walwyn also highlighted some of the benefits that would result if such a bill was to be passed and ascended to in the BVI.
Persons facing human rights breaches, whether mandatory vaccinations or otherwise, would have been able to get assistance, guidance, and support from the Human Rights Commission. I did some digging and found the last sitting of the House on this issue in October 2018. It has been 3 years now since then, and nothing has happened. And I ask persons to listen to the contributions being made on this issue. Some of the points raised by some of our leaders were reasonable, but I cannot say the same for others. It is high time that the Human Rights Commission is put in place in the BVI. It is important for investigating, promoting, and protecting human rights of all living within the Virgin Islands.
Well, the former minister closed by making reference to a recent 284 News article titled, and I quote, CNW issues mandatory, which is Cable and Wireless issues a mandatory vaccination policy to staff. Company issues statement, end quote, which outlined and brought light to the most recent case of employees being given a mandate on a vaccination policy by an employer. Well, viewers, Premier and Minister of Finance Andrew A. Foy, in a recent press conference, doubled down on his stance that an employer has a right to ask their employees to be vaccinated. Premier Foy made the comments while stating that his government will not be making it mandatory for individuals to be vaccinated.
So we have done everything to get to this level. We have encouraged our people to make sure that you vaccinate. We have stated clearly that vaccination is not mandatory, going to be made mandatory by this government, and we stick into it. But at the same time, too, we're not going to make it compulsory or mandatory that businesses do the same. Just like how you have an individual right to decide whether to be vaccinated or not, we have told businesses that you have the individual right as a business to decide whether your employees will be vaccinated or not. Government will not get involved in that. That is their rights. But we encourage vaccination because it is still the best known remedy for what we do have. We understand for health reasons some people cannot be vaccinated. We understand that being vaccinated doesn't guarantee that you won't get the virus, nor does it guarantee that you won't get a virus, nor does it guarantee that you won't die from COVID 19, but it still limits your percentage of this happening. And even if it happens, it increases your percentage for recovery. So we're asking our people to be vaccinated. But we cannot allow a few persons in our country who decide that they're not going to listen to no one to make sure they be vaccinated or get themselves, their health system up in terms of whether they're using natural medicine or whatever the case is to strengthen the immune system to stop our entire economy. We have no intentions of shutting down again.
Well, viewers, that was Premier Andrew A. Foy. Well, viewers, up next, Jaleel Croal misses out on podium finish at Junior PanAm Games, but runs sub 21 seconds to create new personal best time in the 200-meter final. Well, viewers, we get to that story when 284 News return.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, top junior sprinter Jaleel Croal missed out on a podium finish in the final of the 200-meter men's event at the Cali 2021 Junior PanAm Games in Colombia, but set a new personal best time, breaking the 21-second border for the first time. Well, Jaleel delivered a time of 20.93 seconds to finish fifth in his first major games, which is also his season opener. Well, the new time smashes his previously personal best time of 21.10 seconds, which he achieved at the end of last season. Well, the medals in the final went to Ecuador's Anderson Martinez, who won the race in a time of 20.51 seconds. Well, Lucas Villar of Brazil, who placed second with a time of 20.59 seconds, and Brazilian Luca Rodrigues da Silva, who took bronze with a time of 20.68 seconds. Well, speaking after the race, Jaleel promised that he has a lot more in store, adding that he will be showcasing it on the track in his upcoming events. Well, he said, and I quote, "When I got on the track, my main goal was to have fun and run a 21, so after a nice start and execution and finish and a 20.93 second, even though I came fifth, I was the happiest man on the track at that moment. There's more to come and I already marked the guys' faces," end quote. Well, Coach Ralston's grandfather Henry said Jaleel's performance on the track was exceptional considering the opponents he ran in the final. Well, Coach said, and I quote, "Well, this is the peak time of a season for the sprinters from Ecuador and Brazil, and to see him come and run that fast with them is a major accomplishment," end quote. But meanwhile, President of the BVI Olympic Committee Ephraim Penn said that Jaleel's performance was exceptional, adding that it was somewhat very remarkable. Take a listen.
Well, I must say it was an absolutely outstanding performance, and he showed no fear, no fear of the competition. He embraced it well, and he did what most people expect him to do, but he did beyond. Because if you speak with Jaleel, you'll understand the competitiveness of him. He looked at the field and he decided that he was going to do well regardless of the circumstances, and he did. And seeing that he hasn't competed since 2019, I think I stand to be corrected in any major competition, and to go to a competition of this caliber with in some cases, I think he was the youngest one in the final, who competed in the final, and to do that speaks volume to his future, and we expect bigger and greater things from him. He really is confident. He really showed it, and you can see from the way he ran without fear, and just outstanding performance.
Well, viewers, Jaleel has already qualified for the World Athletics Under-20 Championships next August with his semi-final time of 21.24 seconds, and he will be back at the same stadium to compete in that event. Well, in the meantime, the 3x3 basketball team comprising of Shaquem Tyson, Michael Richardson, DeAndre Mitchum, and Stefano Paul lost their final group game on December 3rd against Venezuela 11-22, despite executing a much improved performance, where the team ended the competition winless after losing their first match to Puerto Rico 5-21, then their second against Colombia 9-15. But President Penn also commented on the overall performance of the men's 3x3 basketball team, stating that despite the winless finish, the team did well with their first return to the international arena since 2010.
Yes, the basketball team did extremely well. They were in the bracket that eventually brought out the champion in Puerto Rico and the silver medalist in Venezuela and also Colombia. Among the three top teams in the entire tournament, and they held their own against all three of them. Obviously, the first game with Puerto Rico, you're going up against proven champions, and that competition was very tough. And from that first competition, they could have folded and said, "Well, I think we had enough." But they competed better as they in the second game, and they did extremely well in the third game. And as I said, they competed against teams that eventually were the gold and silver medalists. So they were in the toughest bracket, and you could tell from the speaking to the athletes that they welcome the exposure, they welcome the experience, and they're better for it because you see their confidence build as they adjusted to the speed and the strength of the competition. And you got to bear in mind that they were competing at altitude. So the first game, I think, was really an eye-opener that you have to pace yourself. You're not playing at sea level. You're playing at almost 4,000 feet. So that had an impact. But they competed well. I think they were well spoken about by especially the Puerto Rican team. They befriended the president of the association, and I think you could see great things coming with working with Puerto Rico and the other countries in the Eastern Caribbean. In fact, they already talk about having a 3-on-3 OECS basketball tournament. So things are looking good.
Well, viewers, Todd Letsom finished 6th overall in his sailing competition and second in his age category. Penn also commented on Mr. Letsom, who would have been one of the first and the only persons competing in the competition in that sailing event. Viewers, take a listen.
Okay, that is truly a great ambassador for not only the BVI, not only for sailing, but for the entire BVI in the way he carries himself and the way he competes. This is his second international. He was in the PanAm Games, and he did quite well from there. That experience helped him to be, I think, in the overall competition, he ended up 6th. But as far as his age group, he was this number 2 competitor under the age of 19. And he was in the medal contention up until the last day, where he didn't do as well as expected and fell out to 6th. But he was in there, and the future of sailing looked bright with Tad carrying the flag and of the BVI sailing, and I sure it will inspire much more young BVI landers to take up sailing and to really make it not only saying with the sailing capital of the world, but proving it and having competent sailors on the international level. Because people always look forward to us to be in sailing and swimming the same way surrounded with the water. So that's a great step, and it's just a good thing overall.
Well, viewers, meanwhile in squash, Luca Reach was one of the first athletes to compete for the BVI in the PanAm Junior Games, where the 18-year-old was competing in the under-23 category, which allowed him to build on the experience despite his losses. Well, following him close by was sprinter Zara Brown, who finished fourth in the women's 100-meter semi-final race with a non-advancing time of 11.87 seconds. Well, viewers, that's all we have for today's news roundup. I'm Kamal Haynes. Obviously, follow us on social media at 284 Media, 284 Media on Facebook and 284 BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes. Thank you for joining us, viewers. Have a great Tuesday evening.